Washed Up Sports Podcast.
Washed Up Sports Podcast. Washed Up Sports Podcast. What's going on? 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 What's going on, guys?
What's going on, guys? Max. Unfortunately, this week we will not be having any side camera angles. They were wiped when we tried to save, and actually our main angle was originally wiped out too, but somehow we salvaged it. We were able to get that from the cloud and have something to display for you guys visually. So, big apologies. I know people enjoy the multiple camera angles. We do too. Really sorry we weren't able to salvage those, but at least we got the main angle. This is a banger episode, so hope you guys enjoy.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a Washed Up Sports Podcast. This is episode 21. My name is Evan Klein, and I'm glad to be joined alongside my co-host, Max Lindley.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to this spectacular and special edition of March Madness. We are glad to be joined by two spectacular people. Matt Maselli,
What's up,
Matty
boys?
Pucks.
Matty
What's
Pucks.
up, kid?
What's going on, boys? Good to be here.
A little out of your element, talking
A
basketball.
little bit, but I'm pumped for March Madness.
But it's okay.
Yeah,
Let's
It's
go.
all right.
It's all right.
So, and then we're also joined by Jack Darling, a basketball insider for the college basketball.
What's going on,
Washed Up-
guys?
A washed up insider.
Great to be back. Great to be back.
Thanks for coming back. You guys might remember Jack from the Masters panel that we had. He's a jack of all trades, so now he's back for basketball.
Oh, I like
And-
that. Jack of all trades.
Exactly.
That's
exactly.
what we'll call him.
Right.
Yeah, that played nicely.
That
Right.
did play nicely. Love that.
We are an authentic sports commentary from the perspective of two washed-up athletes. Today's episode is brought to you by The Daily Scoop. The Daily Scoop is the premier dog walking and pet sitting service of Bergen County, located in Glen Rock. The Daily Scoop provides service not only to Glen Rock, but to several surrounding towns as well. They ensure that you are getting the best possible care for your pets while you cannot be with them. From the simple dog walk to dog sitting, The Daily Scoop has you covered. You ever need to leave town? Visit your family for the weekend? Have no fear. Daily Scoop offers pet sitting services as well. Inquire for more at www.thedailyscoop.com. That's scoop with a K at www.thedailyscoop.com. Here's Max with the Instagram.
Daily Scoop LLC. Jack, what is it? Scoop with a what?
Scoop with a K, guys. Scoop with a K.
Absolutely. Scoop with a K.
Scoop with a K.
So you guys know where to find him. Find him on Instagram. Find him online. That's the deal there. Let's get right freaking into this episode.
Let's go. This is the March Madness special. 1 year ago, one calendar year, the country was shut down. No conference tournaments, no March Madness. We are missing it. We are back and we are ready right now. The March Madness special is here, and we have all buckled our chin straps, and we are ready to get this fucking thing going. Let's go, guys.
You feel this,
Let's
Matty?
go. Let's get into
You
it.
see those goosebumps, Matty?
I
You
see
see those goosebumps?
Come on.
Get your lunch pals.
Evan's getting me goosebumps.
Come
Look
on.
at this, boys. I got goosebumps. Let's go.
All right.
All right, starting off, Evan is going to give us his favorite matchups from the East and the West. Starting right now, Evan, get into it, buddy.
Let's go. So I'm going to do East and West, my favorite matchups. Jack's going to do the Midwest and the South. So starting off, I'm going to start off with the East. So the East, bottom left of your brackets, you might, if you're looking at a bracket. So the one that I probably like, really close game from there is going to be the Colorado-Georgetown matchup. So we got a little, I think that's a 5-12. Yeah, Jack?
Yeah, it's 5-12.
That's a 5-12.
Yeah, 5-12 first round.
So this is very interesting to me, and what's interesting to me about this is, Georgetown, coached by the great Patrick Ewing, of course, really had a very subpar regular season. And they come into the Big East tournament with not many expectations and just absolutely shock the Big East.
Absolutely.
They beat some really good teams. They beat a struggling Villanova team.
Yep.
And, that says a lot. So
And a big upset over Creighton in the final.
big upset over
obviously.
Creighton in the final, and that's just
But they
crazy.
killed Creighton. Like
Yeah.
they didn't even.
Yeah,
they
it
killed,
wasn't-
They killed Creighton. Like they beat Villanova. Like that was a good win, and that kind of I think opened everybody's eyes. But I think them actually drilling Creighton by 20 plus in the Big East championship. I think a lot of people are actually looking at this matchup Georgetown could actually do this.
Right, because Colorado's not bad.
No, Colorado is not bad at all. I mean, they made it to the Pac-12 championship game. They're a very formidable opponent.
Right.
Absolutely.
Maselli looks like he has something to say.
Let's go, Maddie.
No, I was just eager to say it. Because I was watching the end of the Georgetown game, and Patrick Ewing, obviously a great Knicks player, he actually became the first player and coach to win the Big East. To win it as a player and then to win it as a coach.
Oh, I
first
like
person.
that.
He
That's a
did.
little tidbit for you guys.
So pretty
did.
cool.
That's
and
very cool.
Going in with him.
I know Ewing said he was back at MSG and somebody asked him for like
Credentials,
for
yeah.
credentials. He was like, "Get the fuck out of here! This is
This
my
is my
house."
house. And
Come
it
on.
is. It's
I think
his house.
he told him to look up at the rafters and look at his number.
Yeah, that is
Oh,
what he
that's
said.
smart. Look
That's
at
good.
look at double threes up there.
Exactly.
That's all you
I
need to
love it.
say.
I love it. But yeah, so normally I wouldn't think much of this opponent, and I'd say, I think Colorado could take it. But I've got Georgetown here because I think they're going to keep their foot on the gas. Very, very great postseason so far for them after a tough regular season. But, no better time to be playing your best basketball than March.
Yeah, couldn't have
Absolutely.
said it better, Ev. Couldn't have said it better. I actually have I'm with you there. I have them beating Colorado in the first
Right.
round
And,
too.
in Colorado, that's a tough customer, but we'll see what goes on there. Next matchup I want to look at, we're moving up top left on your brackets to the west. What I'm going to talk about here, UVA against Ohio, the 4-13 matchup. So what I'm going to talk about here, Virginia, I think it happens time and time again. They know they won the national championship, but I think this is, again, a very upsettable Virginia team. And if we're going to see Virginia get bounced in the first round, it's this year. Jack, what do you think about that?
I think you're absolutely right. First of all, the person to watch out for on Ohio is Jason Preston.
Yep.
Like every year, it feels like somebody in March Madness like grabs everybody's heart and everybody latches onto a team or a guy. And I think Jason Preston's going to be that guy for a lot of people this year because he's just like he's a legit NBA prospect. Like Ev, obviously, us being Buffalo guys. I mean,
Exactly.
we saw what he did to us in the championship game.
Right. We're in the MAC. We're watching MAC, so we've watched Ohio basketball.
Yeah, and they're a veteran-led group, and they have 5 guys that average double figures. And the other thing about this is Virginia's in quarantine right now, so they're not getting out of quarantine until Thursday, which means they aren't going to practice. Flying to Indy on Friday and then playing Saturday, that's like really hard to do, to just have to prepare virtually and not even be in person for any of your preparation.
Right. I know why I think Virginia's a very upsettable opponent, but I want to hear, being in it, I know you follow Duke a lot. You watch a lot of the ACC as well. Tell me what you see in them that makes you think that they're an upsettable team.
Well, the thing like for me is like when I look in the past is even the year that they ended up. So we obviously know that they lost to UMBC. They got off to a slow start in that game. And then the following year, people don't remember. I mean, they went on to win the national championship, but they got off to a slow start against Gardner-Webb. And like they were down at like 10 at one point in a 116 matchup. So I think like Ohio's got a lot more talent than either of those teams. So if they get down early, like they could actually have some issues getting back. I don't know if they have the offensive like capability to come back if they were down. Obviously they have such a great defense, but I think Ohio's going to be able to get something going against them.
Right, definitely. And you mentioned Jason Preston a little bit earlier. Obviously, if you watch ESPN at any point, you've heard the crazy story about how he was like a high schooler who like wasn't even playing varsity with no offers and couldn't even like dunk at one point. And now he's like, putting up numbers. So
yeah, I think he put like
31.
30 up at Illinois. They almost beat Illinois earlier in the year. They lost by 2, and he had
wild.
like 30 points.
That
So
was wild.
he definitely is made for the big stage.
Absolutely. Jack, take us through your South and Midwest matchups now that we like.
So we'll get it going with the Midwest. And I know a Washed Up Sports podcast has a dog in this fight. It's going to be the 7-10 game between Clemson and Rutgers.
Come
Come on, are you?
Let's go.
So I think Ev can help us out when we run down Rutgers. But Clemson, 16-7, 10-6 in the ACC. They got some good wins. They beat Alabama earlier in the year, Purdue, Maryland as well. They beat Georgia Tech. But they are very inconsistent. They looked really bad last week in the ACC tournament against Miami, and they actually ended up getting upset in like the quarterfinals. But Amir Sims, he's a big man inside, second team All ACC. He averages 13, 6, and 2. He's probably the guy that you would want to watch out for. The thing about Clemson is they're a very like defensive minded team. They also have Alamir Dawes. He's a New Jersey guy, went from Newark, played at the Patrick School. So he might have a little extra motivation against Rutgers, but getting into Rutgers 15-11 in the Big Ten, first time in 30 years, Ev, how do we feel about it?
Oh man, first time watching them at this big stage in my lifetime. So exciting for my family, myself, really excited. It's just going to be an awesome ride and I'm looking forward to the big game.
Ev, can I get a U when I hit you with an R? R.
You.
R.
You.
R.
You. Come on.
Ready?
It's going to be a big game. It's a big game. It's a real big game. And, Jack mentioned some of the guys some of the studs that they got over at Clemson, but guys, we got Ron Harper. He needs to shoot well. Guy who was averaging about 16 throughout the regular season. When he heats up from 3, it's dangerous. It gets very dangerous for the other teams. We need Gio, our senior leader, to step up, and then we got Miles Johnson. One of the best bigs in the country. One of the top bigs in the Big Ten.
Yeah. That's what I was going to get at. Like the keys to the game, I think like it's going to be a battle inside between Amir Sims and Miles Johnson. I mean, Miles Johnson's all defensive team in the Big Ten. So obviously that's going to be a good old fashioned big boy matchup down low. Absolutely. On the block. It's going to be low scoring. Both the teams rank in the top 20 in defensive efficiency. But Ev, you're going to like this. I got Rutgers with the upset first round 54-50.
Definitely. I really like Rutgers in this matchup. I think we have a pretty good path for a 10 seed. Just a couple other things. I think Jacob Young is another player people need to look at. Really another senior point guard. Led the Big Ten in steals. Just a defensive nightmare for other teams.
And he's the only guy on the Rutgers roster with any NCAA tournament experience when he was at Texas. He's the only guy that's played in a game before.
He played on Texas. Yeah, he played with Shaka Smart over when Mo Bamba was there. I think that was the year.
I think it was like 2018.
Yeah. And Max bursts into song.
Shout out Sheck West, of course.
Right.
Yo, Sheck West, and I'm getting really rich.
So that's the Midwest game that I was looking at, and then in the South region, I was looking for a little bit of an upset pick for some people to look out for, and it's a 5-12 matchup Friday between Winthrop and Villanova.
Come on.
We just were talking about it. Villanova, obviously, struggling a little bit, 16-6. They are the Big East regular season champs, but they were upset by Georgetown. Gillespie goes down for the year. Little Archie Diacono, I can't believe there's another one. He comes in, and he's got to be the starter. They didn't look great. They've lost both games without him. It's going to be Jeremiah Robinson-Earl probably. I mean, he's going to be the best player on the floor, but let me tell you about Winthrop. 23-1, 17-1 in the Big South. They won their conference tournament games, the 3 games, by an average of 27 points. So, yes, they're a mid-major, but they killed everybody that they played.
What's the Big South look like, if I might ask?
The Big South, that's like your Gardner. I think Gardner Webb is usually the team that comes out of there. Okay. Radford's in there too. But I forget who they beat in the championship, but they beat him by 27. The guy to watch is Chandler Vaudrin. He's 6'7", point guard, averages 17, 7, and 7. He's a Division II transfer. The dude had 6 triple doubles in Division II. And then they got a Tennessee transfer, DJ Burns, on the inside. They love to shoot the 3. They get up and down. I don't know. I kind of like this matchup. I would never count out Jay Wright, but just where Villanova is at right now without Gillespie, I think Winthrop's got a chance in this game.
I also think Winthrop's got a big chance in this game. Villanova looked horrendous in the Big East tournament.
They did. And I mean, it's tough because you lose your starting point guard and your captain 2 games before the end of the regular season. And then you got to go in the Big East tournament and, try to figure things out. And now you get a tough draw with a team that has 1 loss on the entire season. So kind of a tough road. You're going to need some caring.
If Villanova wants to do anything, they're going to need some caring from Jermaine Samuels as well.
Yeah, they are. But that's the thing. Jeremiah Robinson-Earl is going to be the best player on the court in this game. And he just has to absolutely take over. I mean, we see guys step up all the time in March, and this is going to be his opportunity.
Definitely. I know back when you were talking about Rutgers and Clemson, I was ready to say something else, and then I figured I better stop myself here because I could talk about Rutgers basketball for hours if you guys let me get going. So I'm gonna hold myself. I almost gave Matt
that look. We gotta simmer down here.
Reel him back in.
Down here, boys.
Reel me back in.
Reel it back in.
Reel him back in. All right, we got perfect way to reel back in. We got some March Madness trivia.
Okay, all right, I'm in on that.
Let's do it.
You boys ready?
Let's go.
Let's do it.
So I got 5 questions for you boys. We're gonna keep score. Whoever does best gets a high five from me. Jack, you'll get a virtual high five if you win.
All right, that sounds good.
All right. So starting off, which men's basketball team has won the most NCAA Division I tournaments? We'll go with Evan first.
Is this multiple choice? Or?
This one is not multiple choice.
Okay, is it Kentucky?
Short answer.
Is it Kentucky? I don't even know the answer to that, honestly. It's either Kentucky or Duke, probably. I'm gonna go with Kentucky.
All right, Evan goes with Kentucky. Jack?
I I like where your head's at, Ev, but for some reason I feel like UCLA rattled off like 7 in a row at one point with John Wooden, so I'm gonna go with UCLA.
All right, so Jack goes with
Is
UCLA.
that's probably the answer.
And Matt is gonna go with
I'm gonna go. I don't know. UNC.
UNC. All right, so Jack was correct. It is UCLA
You
with 11 championship wins.
I mean, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, formerly Lou
Yep.
Alcindor. I mean, I think he just like ran through the NCAA in the 70s or whenever that was.
Thank you for that. You
How
just
many
made
do
my day.
is Kentucky close at least? Like, are they close?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I know Duke has 5, so they're not as close as I think we
What
would
about
imagine. I think
UNC?
UNC has more than Duke. I'm pretty sure. And I know, I think Kentucky and UCLA are up there. So.
Jordan went to UNC, right?
Yes,
Did he win? How many there?
I think he had just the one,
Just
right?
one.
just the one.
Yeah.
No, definitely just the one.
Zero.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he hit the game winner.
Next question.
Next question. All right, this one is multiple choice.
Okay,
All
word.
right.
I like multiple choice. That's where my head's usually at.
I love you, Ev.
Thanks.
What year was the first NCAA Division I men's basketball tournament? Is it 1947, 1958, or 1939? We'll start with Evan again.
Ooh,
So
I'm gonna go with. See, this is the hardest because I don't get to like hear where other people's heads are. I have to like start the. So that's harder for me. But the one I'm gonna go with. The 40s, whatever the one was in the 40s.
1947.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Okay. Jack.
What was was there one in the 50s, was there?
Yeah, so it's 1939, 1947, and 1958.
So I'll do 58 just because, we'll do like a little history. And I think wasn't like World War II
that might have
around
been
then.
too close to World War II, or basketball
maybe-
might not been played at the time.
Maybe basketball wasn't the first priority at that time. That's where my head's at.
Shit, you're probably
I
right.
wish you all paid attention more in history.
Yeah.
Matt,
You're definitely right.
what do you think? 1939?
Shame on me.
1947?
1939.
Matt is correct.
Wow, how about that?
1939. Evan, the World War II was over by 1947. I'm almost positive.
Okay, well, it
And
was at least
most
close.
certainly over by
I think it was 44.
1958. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it ended in 1944 or 45.
Okay, well, it was close. I knew it was in the 40s when
I was
it
just
ended.
clarifying.
Yeah, thanks, man.
All right, we're all making ourselves look very stupid right now.
It's all right. That's why we're a sports podcast and not the washed
Right.
up
I was
history
about to try and say
podcast.
something, but I
You didn't want to. You didn't want to embarrass
no,
yourself.
yeah, I don't know.
So Matt was correct with 1939. Good job, Matt. So right now we got Jack got 1 point. Matt has 1 point.
Fine, that's
Evan
zero.
has.
0 points.
Big
There
goose
you
egg.
go.
Big goose egg.
All right. Next up, another multiple choice. Who is the only player to win the Final Four MVP despite not winning the national title? Sorry, I forgot
Multiple
to-
choice?
My fault.
You're good.
A.
God.
Michael Jordan.
No, he won.
B. Hakeem Olajuwon. C. Patrick Ewing. Or D. Larry Bird.
Okay.
We'll start with Jack.
What was the second option?
So I'll read through them again for everybody.
Elijah on the 5 slamma jamma action?
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm trying to think. Like I know
So-
Jordan won.
So it goes
Ewing
A.
won.
Jordan. B. Olajuwon. C. Ewing. D. Bird.
I know Bird won. I know Olajuwon won. Did Olajuwon win? Did 5 Slamma Jamma win?
I don't know.
I'm gonna go with Olajuwon. I don't know if they won. That's the only one that I don't know if they won, so I'm just gonna go with him.
So Jack is going to lock in B. Hakeem Olajuwon.
That's
Ev,
crazy if they didn't win because that's like one of the best college teams ever.
Didn't they lose to? Didn't they lose to Jimmy V?
Oh.
Ev, your answer?
I don't know. I'm not sure about that. Crazy fun fact, if I may, not even
Can
off
you
topic.
answer first?
Okay.
Just a guess. A. Jordan. B. Olajuwon. C.
No,
Ewing.
Bird Ewing.
Or
I know
D
for
or Bird.
I know for a fact Bird Ewing and Jordan all won. So I'm pretty sure. So I'm gonna go with Olajuwon.
Okay.
But I'm
Fun
surprised.
fact.
Phi Slamma Jamma, that was the name of that Houston team that
Yeah.
year. They didn't win, but crazy fun fact: Michael Young, Jacob Young on Rutgers, his dad was on that Phi Slamma Jamma team. And crazy thing, if Rutgers beats Clemson and Houston beats Cleveland State, then they play Rutgers Houston.
Interesting. Oh yeah.
Okay.
I actually have them playing in my bracket.
Yeah, a lot do.
I have Rutgers beating Houston in my bracket.
Yeah,
a little tidbit.
Yeah, Rutgers. We're Elite Eight bound, guys. Come on, let's go.
I hope so.
At least.
All right.
Fuck.
So, Matt, what do you think? Jordan, Olajuwon, Ewing, or Bird?
I don't know if you can answer this or not, but I mean, how many of those guys played multiple years at the
All
school?
see, this is during the time where everybody played multiple years.
So it didn't have to be in like. So it could be they won the national championship one year, and then the next year they lost it.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
won
It
the
just had to be
MVP.
in the same year.
Okay, all right. Like Larry Bird, I guess. I don't know.
Okay, so
Just a
Matt's
shot in
gonna
the
go
dark.
with Larry Bird. He is incorrect, unfortunately. The correct answer was B. Hakeem Olajuwon.
Let's
He
go,
Ev.
did
Let's
in
go.
fact
Let's go.
win the Final Four MVP.
After we're done
despite not
recording,
winning the
I'm
natty
gonna
title.
look up how that tournament must have gone because I'm surprised that him and Clyde Drexler couldn't throw a championship together.
Yeah, it is quite surprising when you think about it. All right, so Jack has 2, Evan has 1, Matt has 1. Who will pull away? We have 2 questions left. Stay tuned and find out. Next up, who is the all-time leading NCAA Division I scorer? A. Wilt the Stilt Chamberlain. B. Jerry Lucas. I'm going to be honest, don't know who that is. C. Pete Maravich.
Pistol?
Pistol Pete Maravich.
Pistol.
D. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, formerly known as
Kareem.
what?
Lou Alcindor.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks,
All right.
Jack.
So,
Sure.
we'll start with. I guess we'll start with Matt. We haven't started with Matt yet.
Yes.
Give me Pistol Pete.
Pistol Pete. Matt goes with Pistol Pete. Jack.
Matt, I think I like where you're at there. I don't know why, but I just remember like this name, Pistol Pete, being up there. So I'm gonna go Pistol Pete.
All right, we got
Let's
2
go.
Pistol Petes. Is it going to be 3?
No, it's not.
It is not.
I'm gonna go with. I think I'm gonna go with Wilt Chamberlain. That dude was putting buckets in hoops like it was nothing.
Yeah, that's true.
He was massive.
Unfortunately, though,
I'm wrong.
Evan is incorrect. It
Damn.
was Pete Maravich who leads with
Damn.
3,000.
I'm getting smoked.
667 points. So currently, Jack is in the lead with 3. Matt can tie him because he has 2, and Evan is out.
Pistol Pete, maybe a Utah Jazz great.
Next up, last one. Which popular basketball move was banned from college basketball in 1967, only to be reinstated in 1976? A. The 3-point shot. B.
No.
The slam dunk. C. Charges. D. Chest pass.
What? That is a ridiculous question, in my opinion.
We will start with Evan first because he thinks it's so ridiculous.
It's charges, chest pass, dunks, or 3-pointers.
Precisely.
Charges, I guess.
Evan goes with charges. Okay.
Everything else has like always been in the game. Had to like what? Everybody's always been able to dunk and shoot threes. So the only thing, and you can also pass. Like, yeah, it's got to be a charge.
I'll go with. Yeah, I'll go with charges too.
All right.
I mean, that doesn't even. Yeah, maybe dunks.
Matt,
I'll go with passes just so I can maybe get myself
chest
a tie.
passes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Zag like it.
Unfortunately, guys, you are all wrong.
Yeah.
Is it the 3?
It is the slam dunk. The slam
yeah.
dunk was outlawed from 1967 to 1976, and I am almost positive it was directly because of Wilt Chamberlain and
I think it was.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Just so they
because
couldn't just
were-
like dunk the
they were
ball. It's like-
posturing.
No,
Posterizing.
because
they're
I think that they
posterizing
used to
everybody.
like. I think they used to like break the rims, and they didn't have like the breakaway rims like they do now. Where they like,
Oh.
and I think that they would like break, so they probably were like, and you know, in the '60s, we're not just throwing money around for a new backboard all the time. I would imagine.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So they just had to
not.
like plop the ball in after that. Like you were like a
Yeah, you could just
seven
light
foot
up.
5 guy, just like bloop.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow, that's exciting.
Yeah.
That takes so much excitement out of the game. Though. I
Yeah.
fucking hate that.
All right. So that was trivia. Jack, virtual high five, man.
Thank you guys.
Yep. There you go.
Jack gave the little Herb Dean from the UFC the ref every time they call him. He gives like a little bow.
Yeah, a little bow.
Guys, so now moving on,
Yep.
We're going to look at the 8-9 seed matchups in this year's tournaments. Obviously, really, even matchups. So we're going to break some of those down, pick who we got, talk a little bit about them. So I'm going to start off and go with UNC Wisconsin. Let's talk about that one a little bit. So with that, I'm not sure where my head's at yet. I probably like Wisconsin because the really only thing is I saw Oklahoma. I mean, why am I saying Oklahoma? The only reason for that is I saw UNC struggle at points through the season, and so did Wisconsin towards the end. But Wisconsin's strength of schedule is so crazy, and it might be because I'm a Big Ten guy, but the Big Ten is just so hard. Just like most challenging conference in the country, and you can't blame Wisconsin for like losing a close game to Iowa or something like that. Like that's not a bad loss.
Yeah, no.
So
I mean, I personally think Iowa is a very good team and has a chance to shake up this whole tournament.
right. So Wisconsin, they didn't lose a lot of terrible games. They had a very bad strength of schedule, very hard. So I like them here, I think, because they've played a lot of really good opponents and they've shown that they can beat really good opponents. You guys want to throw in your picks a little bit, talk about it a little bit?
I actually have North Carolina in this matchup.
It's so hard for me. It was very difficult.
I feel like this is obvious. There are hard matchups to pick. I feel like it's not as hard as when you get to those like almost like those middle tier matchups where it's like 12-5. I feel like those are some really hard games to pick sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But 8-9 is definitely really hard. I picked North Carolina, not much to do with anything, like just because, you know what I mean? Like that's how I pick my brackets.
Yeah.
As I'm sure a ton of our listeners also do for some games. They just pick whichever team they like better. So
yeah.
That's where I went with that.
I think
I've seen a couple North Carolina games this year, and I have not seen Wisconsin, so there's that.
Gotcha. No, North Carolina was playing pretty good ball at the end there. Couple really big wins. I think if they want to make any noise, they're going to need some really good performances from their true freshmen, R.J. Davis and Caleb Love, no doubt. Going to need Garrison Brooks to lead you to the promised land, I think, and get some good minutes from Leaky Black as well. Those are the guys that I'd probably keep my eye on to make some noise if you want to get a good dub against Wisconsin. If you're UNC, Jack, what do we think about that matchup?
Yeah, unbiased. I'm a Duke fan. Let everybody know. This is going to be an unbiased though opinion about UNC. No, they're good. They the front court with Brooks and Baycott. That's probably like where their strengths are. Caleb Love's been playing better, but I'm just a big experience in the NCAA tournament guy, and Wisconsin has like every starter is a senior, and they have like all of this experience. And like you said, Ev, they have played in the Big Ten, which is the best conference this year. Strength of schedule is really good, and like at the end of the day, I think UNC lacks tournament experience. Wisconsin doesn't. And I think Wisconsin knows how to win big games. So I'm going to take Wisconsin in that.
So, yeah, with Wisconsin, I know they're big. Micah Potter, he's really good. He can shoot the long ball. He plays really good defense. Aleem Ford, another really good guy. And then they got Brad Davidson, who's their big leader, who I feel like has been there for maybe 10 years.
Him, he's up there with like Perry Ellis and like some of these other
Jordan
guys.
Bohannon,
him
they just
too,
don't
playing
this year for Iowa. Matt, what do we think of this matchup? What do you like?
I mean, again, I saw like one of UNC's game against Florida State, but I like where your guys' heads are at with Wisconsin playing in the Big Ten. I think UNC has played one Big Ten team in Iowa, and they lost by 15 or something. I just saw. But yeah, I like Wisconsin based on just strength of schedule. I think they'll be more ready for the tournament.
Gotcha. So now going into our next 8-9 matchup, we're going to go into the game where the winner is going to have to face Gonzaga, the 1 seed. That's going to be Oklahoma against Missouri. Very interesting matchup here. Missouri, a team that started off very well in the regular season, then went on, beat Alabama, which was a great win, and then started to slow down a little bit towards the end. A little bit of a similar case with Oklahoma. They playing really good ball. They also beat Alabama, right, Oklahoma?
Yeah, they had that week where they beat Alabama, Texas, and Kansas in like 1 week. That they played the Big 12 SEC challenge and then played Texas and Kansas and beat them both.
Yeah,
they're just like inconsistent at times. Like they've looked really good at times. And again, much like the Big 10, the Big 12 is very, very competitive. I think they had the second most teams in. So you don't get like an off night ever. But I don't know. This game's kind of like a toss-up. Missouri's got like Xavier Pinson and Drew Smith, like good guys that can definitely make an impact. But I don't know. I'm gonna take Oklahoma in this one, but this is like a true 8-9 toss up in my opinion.
I agree. I took Oklahoma as well, but by no stretch of the imagination is that a gimme
Or a lock.
or a lock,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I certainly won't be betting on that game.
No, and I also think that either of those teams, not that they would beat Gonzaga, but they could definitely like cause Gonzaga like some stress because, like we said, I mean, they have both of those teams have like staple wins from teams in the top 10. Missouri beat Illinois earlier in the year too.
Yeah.
Bettors out there, I would put the house on Oklahoma. I think it's like the lock of the first round.
Wow, there you hear.
Why, Maddie?
Yeah, why?
Just looking at that part of the schedule, Jack was just saying, it looked like they were just rolling through. And again, I think they'll be ready for the tournament, like Wisconsin with that schedule. And I mean, they only lost. They lost to Texas Tech by 5 points after beating all those teams too in that same week. They're a pretty good team, right?
Yeah, they are. No, Texas
Tech's
Tech is
amazing. Yeah,
Texas Tech is legit.
Mac McClung and friends, as some would call him.
I mean, yeah,
Absolutely.
maybe I wouldn't toss the house on Oklahoma, but they're looking good.
For emphasis,
I don't know.
You put it on there for emphasis.
I mean, if you want it, you can, but it's up to you. Just a fun little fact about while we're on the 8 or 9s. I actually took every single 8.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know why. Just kind of worked out that way.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like Oklahoma here as well. As I do the 8.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. A little bit of a toss up there. Then now we're going to go into our last matchup with it, which is Loyola Chicago against Georgia Tech. I'm all in on Loyola Chicago here. One of the best defensive teams in the nation. We hear today the 101-year-old Sister Jean will be in the house. Fan favorite there. Loyola Chicago, just some lockdown defense. For that reason, I like them against Georgia Tech. Jack?
Yeah, I mean, you said one of the best defensive teams. They are the best defensive team in the country, holding everybody to 55.8 points per game, which I honestly just like looked at it and I was like, that's insane because I feel like we see every college basketball game up in the 70s and 80s now. So the fact that they held teams to like not even break 60 is just like nuts. But they got Cameron Krutwig, who you might remember from that Final Four run. He was a freshman then. Now he's a senior. Him and Moses Brown, the ACC Player of the Year. That's going to be a good matchup inside. But yeah, I mean, Sister Jean being there, I think that's got to add something, right? I mean, it did last time. So give me Loyola in that one.
Right.
Absolutely.
Let's go.
That's wild. They're
like that.
They're only letting up like 46, 39, 48, 58. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
And again, like they're obviously people would like look at their schedule and say, oh, they play in the Missouri Valley. But
it's
I mean,
still, as you said, like in today's game, it's just like speed and scoring.
And that's a 2-bid league. I mean, they got Loyola in and they got Drake in. So, I mean, they held Drake, who's a tournament team, to like 50 points and they beat them by like 20 the one time. So, yeah, I mean, give me Loyola now.
Yeah, Loyola. I mean, Loyola Chicago. They've been good for a decent amount of time now. Like they've been the defensive team out of that part of the conference for a while now. I remember watching a little. I think it was like what are those shorts on ESPN called?
30 for 30?
No, not
E60?
Are those the short? Yeah, it might be E60. The really short ones. It's like a 10-minute clip. I watched one a couple years ago on Loyola Chicago about the coach who like came a couple years ago, and he was talking about like the defensive mindset and everything. That was super cool.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And Georgia Tech, like following along kind of with the Virginia thing, they had actually today, I just saw Tuesday, I know this is airing Thursday, but they had a guy test positive within their tier 1 personnel, asymptomatic, but they said that the player won't be able to play this week. And they didn't say who it was, but they just said that they had one asymptomatic positive test and they won't be available this weekend. So something to keep an eye on probably with the contact tracing.
But they're playing the game?
Yeah, as of right now, they're playing the game. They went through contact tracing. I saw and nobody else was within close contact, but they did say that it was a player. They didn't say who, but they did say that they're going to miss the game this weekend. So
power to them. I hope nothing gets screwed up with this tournament. Obviously,
yeah, I know.
Safety first. Hope everyone's
well, because that's so tough. Like, I mean, you go the whole year. Like these guys are going the whole year, like isolating and like not seeing their families and being away from everybody and like really following the protocols to just even get here. And then just to even imagine that you could get here, earn your way here, and then just have a positive test knock you out of the tournament. Like I would just feel so bad for any team, whoever it may be out of the 68.
Especially for those guys who didn't even get an opportunity last year.
Right.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Anything else with that Loyola Chicago you guys want to touch on?
No, I like Loyola Chicago there too.
I like that too, as we said. Low score.
Word.
Yeah.
Good defense.
Max, take us into the next thing.
All right. Next up, we got Cash or Trash, and obviously it is March, so this is the March Madness edition, boys.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Excited for that. Cash or Trash after a 1 week absence is back. No, you guys were asking for that.
Let's get it.
Let's get it. So, Cash or Trash is
Presented by Advanced Office Furniture. Since 2003, Advanced Office Furniture has been providing the New York metro area with the highest quality custom furniture. All of their furniture is produced in their state-of-the-art manufacturing facility here in New Jersey and never outsourced. Your business is unique, so why don't you choose to furnish it with specialty furniture that is built to last? With high-quality, customized solutions, no matter what your needs are, Advanced Office Furniture will surely exceed your standards. Now doing work for storefronts, kitchens, they even did our podcast studio.
surely
Really,
did.
anything you need, they've got you covered. Advanced Office Furniture brings creativity and originality. You know it's hard to find people these days that work to ensure satisfaction, and they truly do. Check them out and inquire for more at www.advancedofficefurniture.com. That is www.advancedofficefurniture.com. Shout out them.
Go check them out, advancedofficefurniture.com. All right, so Cash or Trash, boys, March Madness edition. Let's get right into it. First off, Alabama to reach the Final Four plus 350. We'll start with Evan. Cash or Trash?
I think that's cash, honestly. I have them in my Final Four. Alabama's a powerhouse this year. Nate Oates came in, just transformed the program, doing a really good job. A lot of you guys know Jelly JQ, first year out of the transfer portal. So, Alabama's going to make a run. I think they're going to win some games.
Jack?
Yeah, I'm going to go Cash. I would hammer that. I think Alabama's playing really, really well right now. I really like where they're at. John Petty, Herb Jones. I mean, they looked really good in the SEC tournament. Like you said, Ev, Nate Oates, he's our guy. He went down there. He turned everything around for him, and they're looking at a nice little road. I think they would get Michigan in the Elite Eight. I think that's probably the big matchup they'd have to get over. But yeah, I like that. I would take that Cash.
Maddie?
Sure,
Hammer
yeah,
time.
Sure, I'll tail.
Matt's going to cash
I'll
too.
tail for sure. Yeah,
He's going to tail on
I
top
think
of that.
they'll roll right through to the Final Four.
Absolutely.
Let's
All
go.
right, so we got 3 cashes. Next up, West Virginia, the Mountaineers to reach the Final Four plus 400. Cash or Trash?
I'm going to go Trash. I think West Virginia can get upset pretty early on, in my opinion. I'm not as in on them as I have been in previous years. They're a good team, but they've lost some tough ones this year. I don't know. They just really don't do that much for me in terms of, getting to the Final Four especially. So I'm going to go Trash on that. I would stay away.
Alrighty, I just want to hop in before Jack goes. I actually have West Virginia losing to Ohio State in the Final Four, so I am going to cash that.
Okay.
Jack?
I hate to say Trash right after you just said that they were in your Final Four, but I'm gonna go Trash. I just think that
no personal feelings at all, man.
I just think that right now they didn't look great against Oklahoma State. Both times that they played them, lost twice to them in the past week. I can't believe that they're seated ahead of Oklahoma State. That just makes absolutely no sense to me.
That
but,
was surprising.
That was very surprising. But they got Morehead State, who they should be. I mean, that's not really a 3-14 that I was looking at. But then they would either get Syracuse or San Diego State. And a lot of people don't know about San Diego State, and a lot of people are about to find out. So I actually have San Diego State beating West Virginia. So I would go Trash with that.
All right. Maddie, you going to tail with them? Or are you going to cash in on the Mountaineers?
I'll cash in. I'll give you a little support. I think they're gonna roll through too.
All right. I like that, Matt. So Matt is going to cash on the Mountaineers, and the other boys are going to trash on that line. So we got 2 more left. Gonzaga, the clear-cut favorite, and would be the first time in a very long time, or ever, Evan, for a team to go undefeated and win a national championship.
No, it's happened before.
It's happened before.
It would be the first since 1970.
Thank you for that fact, Jack.
Bobby Knight and the Hoosiers.
Yeah,
That's why we call him the Jack of all trades, because he has those stats like that. Really, truly.
Yeah, Jack's a good sportsman for sure.
Good sports guy. Big sports guy. So Gonzaga to win the Natty Chip, plus 230. Cash or Trash, boys?
Hammer time. Let's go. That's my Natty champ right there. Undefeated season. Let's go. I'm going to talk about them a little bit more when we take Instagram questions, but I'm cashing that. That's who I got.
Gotcha. Jack?
Yeah, I plus 230. I mean, if you're trying to make money, it's probably not the bet, but it's definitely the safe bet. I would take it cash. They've looked like the most dominant team in college basketball this year. Like I know that they play in a weaker conference, but they scheduled a tough non-conference. I mean, they have as good a wins as anybody. They killed Iowa. They beat Kansas. They have really good wins. I think this is their year to get the elusive national championship that they haven't yet gotten.
Gotcha. Maddie? Cash? Cashin? Matt is going to stick with the boys.
I feel like they've been around for a while too, as Jack said, trying to get that, and they've been
knocking on the door.
Exactly.
Right. Yep. All right. So last one, you kind of mentioned them before, Jack. The Iowa Hawkeyes. This one is a big reach, but the Iowa Hawkeyes to win the national championship plus 2,000. Cash or trash?
I'm going to trash that. I don't see it happening. I think they're a good team. Luka Garza is really good. We could talk all night about if his game translates to the NBA, but we're not going to do that. Luka Garza is
is a March Madness.
Exactly. Luka Garza is a good player. He's definitely going to do some things, try to get his team a couple wins. But you're going to need a lot more than just him. They have some other pieces, but I'm not sure if it's enough. You're going to need Joe Wieskamp to go absolutely off. You're going to need a lot from a guy like Keegan Murray, Joe Toussaint, CJ Frederick, and then obviously coach's son, Connor McCaffrey. You're going to need all those guys to really buy in and just like shoot lights out, because that's what they are. They're just a 3-point shooting team. And you're going to need them to shoot lights out and just outshoot teams. That's really what it's going to be.
You don't see that happening?
I probably don't see that happening for them to go all the way to the national championship. I think they're going to win a few games, though.
Yep, absolutely. I don't see him winning the Natty Chip either. Jack?
Yeah, I'm going to go trash, but I think like there was a point in this year where I think we would all agree that like it felt like it was Gonzaga, Iowa, and Michigan at the top, right? Like those were the national champions, and now it kind of feels like Iowa's fallen out of that category, and Illinois probably slid into that spot.
And Baylor,
Baylor's been up there. You're right, the whole year they've been up there too. But I think that that Iowa's kind of tailed off a little. I think there was a point earlier in the year where I would have probably said that you could take that, but I just don't see it happening. I think that they're very one-dimensional. They can't stop a nosebleed. I mean, they just try to outscore everybody, and defense in March is what wins. So, and they would have to play Gonzaga probably again in the Elite Eight if both teams ended up getting there. And it looked like a mismatch with Gonzaga when they played the first time.
Absolutely, Matt. You gonna agree, or you gonna cash in on?
Yeah, I'm gonna trash it too. I think you put the money on Gonzaga if you're putting on a Natty winner.
Understandable there. So that is it for cash or trash. We got a couple cashes, we got a couple trashes. Thank you for joining. Thank you to Advanced Office Furniture for sponsoring that segment. Right. Next up, Evan has a new segment. Ev, why don't you break it down?
So we're sticking with the rhymes, I guess, and we're going to call this Sweat It or Forget It. So we're keeping the rhyme play here at a Washed Up Sports podcast. Max is the rhyme king.
Thank you.
No problem. I'll give it to you. You do have good rhymes.
Thanks, my friend.
No
I
problem.
wouldn't even say that about myself, but I'm surprised you just did.
They're
on
like
air, nonetheless.
They're mad cringy, but they're pretty good sometimes.
Mad cringy.
Like a lot of the time, they're very cringy, but
Okay.
they're decent.
All right.
I'm getting like worse and worse as I continue to give you the compliment.
Yeah. Why don't you just go into Sweat It or Forget It?
We're just going to talk about some of the really big headlines going into March, the storylines this week, and then we're going to talk about if we think it's something to, keep your eye on and maybe worry about, or if it's just nothing and you can just, throw that away. Don't got to think about it.
Hence, Sweat It or Forget It.
Exactly. That's why a little wordplay.
Play on words.
Exactly. So first headline, we're going to go with Gonzaga. We just talked about them pursuing the undefeated season. And many argue that they are always good because they're in a really bad conference. What do we think? Is it because they're in a bad conference, or is it just because they're that good? I think it's because they're that good, especially this year. Their players are really good. They're not just beating bad teams. They beat a lot of bad teams, but they also beat some really good teams.
Jack touched on it just a little bit ago. They blew out the Iowa Hawkeyes, who are a very good team, and they crushed a bunch of other teams out of conference games that they had scheduled. So it's not like you could say the competition is poor, even if you're just going off of their out-of-conference games. You know what I mean?
Right, and they beat BYU, who's no schlup.
Yeah, no schlup there.
Yeah. St. Mary's is always decent.
I feel like I always got to do this, Ev. What's a schlup?
It's just like a schlup is just like, if you're a schlup, you're nothing. You're bad.
All right,
Not
I
go-
feel
you're
like
not good.
every week we get a new vocab word from Ev.
Sorry, no schlup.
No schlup. All right.
So, I guess the consensus around, based off what we said previous, was probably Jack. You don't think it's just because they're in a bad conference this
No,
time
I
around?
mean,
it has
like-
been that in the past, maybe, but not this year.
Yes, in the past, I think I remember they were like 30. They were like 30-1 one year, the 1 seed, and they came in and they didn't have any non-conference, but they started the season. They beat Kansas, they beat Auburn, and then they beat West Virginia. Like that was their first 3 games of the season, and then they played Virginia, beat them. Like they have really good wins. Like this is not your typical Gonzaga team. Excuse me. They really are like the 5 guys that like they can roll out for the last 4 minutes of a tight game are just better than any 5 guys like in the country, with Kispert and Ayayi and Jalen Suggs, obviously, and Drew Timme. Like they're like legit this year. I think that this is like something to like really look out for. Like this is like a real headline that they could actually win this whole thing and be the first undefeated team, like we said, since 1970.
History.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Last headline I kind of wanted to touch on is Villanova dead after losing Gillespie for the year and a nightmare ending this season. We touched on that earlier in the episode. My answer is yes. I think Jack, yes.
Yeah, it's tough. I don't feel bad for Villanova fans because I feel like they've won so much recently, but I feel bad for this Villanova team and Colin Gillespie because that's just a horrible way to end your college career. But yeah, I think that they're done, unfortunately. But I would never count out Jay Wright, but I think that they might be done.
Don't count out the boys. Do not count out Villanova. I think they still have a shot to win some games in this tournament. I think they're going to at least the Sweet 16.
Oh,
Respect.
Max making statements.
I mean, they have the talent, like Jeremiah Robinson early.
They just played like
and-
shit like in the past couple
and Jermaine
weeks. I think they can pick it back up.
Samuels. They got the guy. Like they definitely have the talent. I just think that they're trying to figure it all out right now.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if they can pick it back together. But I'm always there for the stretch, and I'll always try for that.
Yep, no doubt. All right, so wrapping it up a little bit, we're going to take some IG questions, some questions from our Instagram, and then get into a little bit of a wrap up, maybe throw out our final fours real quick, and then wrap it up.
Yep.
But IG questions. So we'll start off. First question we got was Ohio and Jason Preston making a run? ? We touched on that earlier. Yes, I think Ohio has a great chance to upset Virginia. Swinging it over to Jack. His answer?
Yeah. Yep. I have Ohio pulling off the upset in the first round.
As do I.
Yep. Ohio looks great, and as you guys said, Preston looks phenomenal.
And you want to know what? I'm going to take Iowa to the Sweet 16. I'm going to take Ohio to the Sweet 16 as well.
I am too. I did do that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Alrighty. There you go, boys. Matt?
Yeah,
Anything?
I'm tailing.
Yeah, tailing?
I don't know too much about Ohio.
He's just hopping on the tail. Me too.
Rightfully so. Not many do know much about Ohio.
No, not many do, but I think
All I know
a
is
lot
that
of
they're
people
from
are going to find
Athens.
out.
Scrappy little
Oh.
group they got over there in Athens.
Yeah.
Next question we have: can anyone stop the 3-headed goat of Corey Kispert, Drew Timme, and Jalen Suggs? My answer is no. Kispert, I'd say probably a top 3 small forward in the country. Drew Timme's really good big. Jalen Suggs probably a top 3 guard in the country right now. So no, I don't think anybody can stop them. They are all nasty.
That's the thing. Like, let's say you stop one, there's still 2 more. Like, they're a problem. Like, even if you're able to contain 2,
And
Jalen Suggs,
the Ayayi
Jalen
guy
Suggs,
that you
Jalen
mentioned.
Suggs by himself can beat you. That's the scary part. Is if you're able to stop like 1 or 2 of them, there's still a third or a fourth. They just keep coming at you.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with you, boys.
Yep. Next question we got: most likely Cinderella. I haven't even really thought about this because
San Diego State.
UNC, baby. UNC to the Final Four, to the national championship, and they're going to lose to Ohio State.
I'm gonna say my most likely Cinderella might be Rutgers.
Of course.
Had to. Jack?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like Cinderella, like to get to the Sweet 16, I think we touched on Ohio. UC Santa Barbara. That's another team to watch out for. Winthrop, like we said. But I'm going to take San Diego State all the way to the Elite Eight. I think that they're very, very good defensively. I think a lot of people don't know about them yet. And I think they're going to make a deep run here this year.
So
they had a really good team last year, if you remember. Probably would have been a 1 seed if the tournament didn't get canceled.
So, Jack, it seems like you're tailing on Matt's pick here.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
He likes San Diego.
I was kidding. I was joking.
Jack really tailing on Matt there. Matty Pucks has really got one on you
If
there.
I know anything about a team, though, it probably is San Diego State, just because they are always playing like 11:30, 12 o'clock our time. So if you're looking at live odds or like looking for something late at night, sometimes they are literally the only thing that's on, and you always hammer the over also.
Sometimes when Maselli's scavenging for a late night bet,
But they do play like good games too. They can put up some good points.
Maselli's in his bed 1:30 a.m. Just
they score a lot.
No,
right?
they do. They score a lot, and they don't let you score a lot. Yeah. So that's a good recipe for success.
That's
Definitely.
certainly true. Next question we have: who is best 1 seed? I'm going Gonzaga. Is that consensus?
Yeah, Gonzaga.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't know if that's consensus.
Matt? I mean, not Matt. Max?
Just based off where I have them going, I have Gonzaga losing to Virginia in
God,
in the Sweet 16.
That is terrible.
So my best number 1 is Illinois.
They're really good. I have them.
And I have Illinois going to the Sweet 16 and ultimately losing to West Virginia.
Oh man, Max.
Boys, I love the dogs.
You do. The puppies, you might call them.
The pups. Give me the pups.
So next question we got: how much does Cuse win by, and why is it 20+? So you guys just finished talking about why you think San Diego State's going to win. I don't hate Syracuse right now. Buddy Boeheim's been playing amazing.
Who the fuck asked this?
P. Kyle Toutre.
20+ points?
Asshole. P. Kyle Toutre.
What is
asshole.
this? What
The
is
ridiculous
Friend of the program, but an asshole.
He's trying to forecast the future of this game within a question.
I guess. So is there something to answer here?
So I think they will win. Actually, I just think I don't know. I think they have a chance.
I think they will win too.
But I just want to take this opportunity to say that Joe Girard sucks. He's terrible at the game of basketball and couldn't shoot into the world's biggest hoop if he tried.
Ev, I've seen you play basketball. I think you're in no position to comment on anybody else's basketball skills.
Come on, Jack.
Whatsoever.
Jack, back me up here on the Joe Girard slander.
No, it doesn't matter how good or bad Joe Girard is. I've seen you play basketball.
Yeah, I'm terrible.
All right.
But Evan Klein was a part. Evan Klein
admit
was a part of, at the time, an undefeated intramural basketball team that got shut down. That the season was abruptly ended due to COVID, but Evan Klein was there getting big minutes, I might add, too.
All right, I'll take your word, Jack.
We beat AE Pie. They were undefeated, too, and we went in their house and just absolutely spanked them.
All right. Before we move on from Syracuse, even if Syracuse does beat San Diego State, which I do have them winning, they're getting their ass kicked by West Virginia in the next round.
Possible.
Fact.
This is
Lock it.
Possible, but not probable. Anyways, last question as we're crunched for time. LVD Pod asks us, shout out them. Those
Shout
guys,
out LVD Pod.
Yeah, that boy is the best.
Wow.
Shout out the LVD Pod. Who wins the Loyola Chicago versus Georgia Tech? We already all said Loyola Chicago, but just to reiterate.
That's a lock. You know what?
LVD
Let's go on that. Let's lock that.
Okay,
Let's
we're
say, guys,
locking
that's
that.
our lock of the program. Loyola Chicago.
Toss it away.
Toss it away. Bye.
And he says he thinks it's the best game in the first round. LVD, thanks for that, man.
Appreciate you,
We
dude.
appreciate you, your insight, and all that you do to help us out here at a Washed Up Sports podcast, friend. Okay, and that's the IG questions. Thank you all for your submissions. We love doing those, so that was hilarious. That was great. Anyways, now we're just going to give our final fours and then wrap up. So I have Illinois, Gonzaga, Ohio State, and Alabama, and then I got Gonzaga over Illinois in the finals.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm just going to roll through mine quick. I got Ohio State playing West Virginia in the Final Four, and then Iowa playing UConn in the Final Four. And I have Ohio State beating UConn
So that's
in
a
the
Cinderella
national
story
championship.
in itself. A 7 seed. You got a 7 seed making the run. James Booknight and company.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes. Don't sleep on the Huskies.
Matt, final four.
I'm kind of going in the path with Max a little bit, just some unpopular picks, but back to San Diego State.
He loves them. He loves
Final
them.
four?
Love 'em. Yeah, love them.
He loves them.
Yep.
Okay.
Creighton. And then we're
A
heading,
puppy. That is a puppy.
and then we're heading over to Texas Tech,
Okay.
and then we'll go a little more chalkier, and we'll go with Bama as the fourth one.
Bama. Wow.
Okay, and who's winning?
I think San Diego.
He's
State-
going with us. San Diego State.
They're the Aztecs, right? I think
Yeah.
the Aztecs are going all the fucking
The
way.
Aztecs are going out.
Oh God, it's so funny because in my first bracket I had them getting bounced by Syracuse.
Check,
in the
Yeah.
check
first
what,
round.
check what
Still
those
have
odds
them
are at.
getting
Yeah,
Viewers.
check those odds
Check
for
those
us.
odds, viewers.
Jack,
you heard it
wrap
here.
us up.
San Diego State 2021 March Madness winners. You heard it here.
Jack, wrap us up. Your final four.
Illinois, Gonzaga, Alabama, Baylor, and I'm gonna go Gonzaga, Illinois championship game, and the Gonzaga Bulldogs are gonna be your national champion.
Let's
Wow.
go. You heard it here. Guys, unbelievable episode. Thanks to Maddie Pucks and Jack Darling, the jack of all trades, the reoccurring guest. You guys will see both of these again. Matt's obviously reoccurring guest on most weeks, but Jack will be back as well for the draft, NFL draft live stream coming in, representing the Buffalo Bills.
Yes, sir.
Little sneak peek there, but get familiar. Big stuff coming on here at a Watch Some Sports podcast, guys. Wrapping up, Max, closing thoughts?
We got Teespring coming, as we said last week. We're going to have a bunch of different designs up there. Not only our logos, but we're going to try to get some cool ones like Trust and Bill. We're going to get that up there once we get a graphic going. And if you guys have anything you guys want to see, any T-shirts you want to see, let us know. We'll get those whipped up for you on the Teespring once we get that going. Maddie, thanks for coming, kid.
Yeah, good to be here.
Yeah.
Looking forward to the next month or two.
Yeah, we'll
got
see
the
it.
Masters again in April.
We got the Masters
Quick
soon.
turnaround. Quick
Oh, shit.
turnaround.
Panel part 2?
Panel part 2 for the Masters.
Oh, God.
We got the Washed Up Draft special. We got so much good stuff coming for you guys. Thank you, Jack, for joining us. You've been a pleasure to have on the pod, man.
Thank you again, guys. Big fan. Always a pleasure to be known as a reoccurring guest now on the pod.
Absolutely a reoccurring guest and a basketball insider for a Washed Up Sports podcast.
He's our insider.
He is
He is-
our
That's
basketball
all that
insider.
matters. You're our insider.
I mean, that's an honor. That's an honor, I think.
I'd like to think so too. I mean,
Tell your dad that one. He'll be proud of you.
yeah, he would.
Yeah.
So also
He'll
shout
think
out
I
Dean
finally-
Darling.
Yeah, he'll probably think that I finally made it.
Yeah. There we go. So that's what it is, boys. Thank
All
you,
right.
everyone.
Take care. See you guys.
Thanks, boys.
Enjoy the games.
Subscribe.
Follow the Instagram. Subscribe to the YouTube.
Peace.
Peace.